Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video we're going to talk about how much light is too much light. So thank you for joining me today. Here recently I just put out a quick little time-lapse video of actually putting up the lights in this workshop, and there's a lot of great comments about again, seeing the light, all these great, funny, kind of just bad dad jokes, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys for all your great humor there. But the big question of the day is, how much light do you actually need in your workshop? And the subject of lighting design kind of comes up based upon what it is that you actually do. So, for instance, say in the filming world, say you're going to be doing some artistic shots of blacksmithing. Really, you kind of want them darker undertones, that mystique. You want to build up some of that in your shop. Great. Natural lighting like what I've got coming from this doorway just off to my left. It's causing a nice little color. It's a lot of contrast here from the left to the right side of my face. I could add another little small light out of frame, which is just enough, just bring in just a little bit of fill light to take and highlight this side of my face just a little bit better, but otherwise leaving most of the shop mostly dark. That is a great way of doing light in a workshop that's very cinematic, it's very film worthy, but is it good to work in? Predominantly, blacksmiths have always used, or have always been in, lack of better terminology, just in the dark. You can see the color temperature of your metal better. You can see phase changes in the steel a lot better. When you're heat treating the stuff, normalizing cycles, you can see these changes and these occurs actually happen in the material itself. You can see, recognize, and obtain welding heat easier. So when you're doing forge welds, it's a lot easier doing a forge weld in a dark room versus doing a forge weld out in the middle of broad sunlight. If you've ever had to do any sort of demonstrations like I've done in the past, you'll realize real quick, being out in the middle of a blacktop parking lot, a 90-degree day in July with just solid noonday sun, you can barely see the color of your metal. Even when you pull it out, it looks black. So there again, too much light can actually be a bad thing when it comes to the forging endeavors. So in your actual forging, in your blacksmith shop, some lighting like what you see that I've got here right now is perfectly fine as long as your eyes are good enough to see everything that you are looking for in your shop. Now, as we age and as we progress and get a little bit older, eyesight starts to not be as good, things like that. And, things get a little harder to find, especially in a blacksmith shop where everything is black, gray, tan, brown, those sort of things. It's all steel. It gets really hard to find if there's a bunch of dark shadows all over your shop. So it's okay to take and put in some LED strip lighting and or some incandescents or things of that nature, and it will really help out. The second thing to consider about lighting design is the Kelvin color of the lighting. And that means that's its output, the color of the actual light. So the lower you go on the Kelvin, the lower you go, let me make sure I'm saying this right. I believe I am. I'm thinking of the compensation meter on this, but I believe the lower the Kelvin, the lower you go with the Kelvin color, the more orange or browns or yellows you're going to have. The higher you go with the Kelvin color, it makes it more blues and cool colors and daylight temperatures. So that's kind of the difference between a candle and an LED flashlight, right? They're on two opposite ends. One's very soft and muted light, as where one's very bright. Now in a shop, if you, again, all you're doing is doing your forging, it's a lot easier on the eyes to do your forging, and it's a lot easier to see the material as well if you stick to that lower Kelvin color range, those darker, more candlelit colors, versus going over to the other end of the spectrum, which is more like bright flashlight in your face. So what did I do with the lights in this shop? Well, I chose to take and do I believe all these lights in here, they're a little bit of a mix. The lights right behind here, they are of a different color band, but they are 4,500 Kelvin, as where the new lights are about 5,000 Kelvin, and you can see a clear difference. And so, let there be light. There we go. So if you can see the lights just right over behind me here, they have a much wider tone to them versus like a whiter / bluish tone to them, as where compared to the light strip right in here has a little bit more muted or a amber tone to it. It's a little bit different. You might be asking yourself, well, what does all this matter, Roy? We're blacksmiths here. We're not trying to design light in our shop. Lighting design and workshop can both help and hurt you. So if you're trying to see certain colors, say you're flame coloring something, that flame coloring changes in the different types of lighting. So daylight is between 4,500 and 5,500 Kelvin. That is considered daylight or bright, this color right here. Okay, anything below that, down in the 38s and this and that, 3,800 Kelvin range and below, that's all getting more into the candlelight sort of thing. So that's going to change the colors that you're perceiving in a piece of work that you're working on. So it's really, really worth considering these things when you're putting lights into your shop. Now, this is going to be an all wall-to-wall metal shop. This is going to be my fabrication shop / eventually I hope to get a lathe at some point and a mill. Those are really the only tools I feel like I maybe lack, just so I can do different parts and things of my own in my own shop. Again, I don't have any projects that I care to be. I'm not a machinist. I don't care to take and be a machinist. But to learn a few things, some milling, some stuff like that, pretty cool, right? I can get with that. I can jive with that. So that's awesome. That might happen in the shop. Well, having really good crisp daylight is a lot easier on the eyes to find parts, to read measurements on tape measures, and make fine-tune adjustments to things, right, for accuracy. That type of color lighting is going to be superb in here. It's also really great lighting for welding, electric welding, arc welding. It's really great lighting for that. It really lights the work very well, and it doesn't leave any sort of shadows. So that brings me to my last point. In this shop here, since this is going to be my metal shop, and you're going to be doing the welding and you're not wanting to leave any sort of dark shadows, it is good to disperse your light across the ceiling of your shop the best you can. You don't want to have any lights in the corner of a shop blaring you in the face. So you don't want to turn from someplace, get blinded, turn, and now you have a dark spot. So you want to make sure that the lights are hung up just kind of out of view. Here I can just see them, I can just see the tail end of that one, but it's not like blinding me. I don't feel like I need to have a hat on or something like that to shade my eyes as I'm walking through my shop. The other point of dispersing this light and keeping it up high will help it cascade and fill in all those little dark areas. Now what it doesn't do for you is, say you're leaning over your work, the light's coming down from the top. That's not going to help you very well, and that's when you can just do spot treatment. You can have a little work lamp or light to kind of backlight the area of what you're working on, which could be very handy in cases of like engraving, stuff like that. But anyways, this is the whole reason why I put the lights in like I have so far, and to just kind of give you a rundown of the way the lighting is right now, I have essentially 3 columns of strip lighting, or the long shop light lamps. I'm eventually going to switch even these light bulbs here over to the 5,000 Kelvin color light lamps. I like these pretty well, and I want them all to be uniform and match. It just makes it look a little more professional. And I also need to get, see that hole I was talking about? That's why I need to fill it. Anyways, clear down at the other end, I need to put in about 3 more lamps across there, 3 more shop lights across there. So that's all on the horizon. I'll do that. I won't be filming that. I'm just going to stick those in, and I'll replace these lights as well. Then the last thing I have is I have a bunch of bulbs. I have these light bulbs, and now those eventually I'm probably going to go away with, because those are one of those things where I find myself, if you look at them about right there, it's just a viewing level thing. And you turn at it, you get this, and then you turn to a dark area, and you get this dark spot where that light bulb was. So that really irritates me. So I'm probably going to get rid of just the bulbs that are along this beam here, and that's okay, because I will fill in with some additional shop lights. So that's it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Was this useful to you? And big thing here that I would hope that you would do is share with us in the comment section what type of lighting you use in your shop, if at all. Do you like having really bright lights in your shop to see things, or do you like to just have it back to that good old natural feel in your workshop? So that's it for today. Let us know down in the comment section down below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching if you made it this far into the video and at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And if you'd like to support content like this and more content like this in the future, a great way of doing that is either sharing this around with your friends for perfectly free, or going and checking out our website over at blacksmithpdfs.com, because that really does help Jessica and I out produce these videos. So without further ado, God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.